So, got a critique for you. I want to say right now, there is no shade to the poor patients that this man sees. And all I can say is that we need to be working together and we need to come together as a, unified profession, whatever that might be, chiropractic or nerve signal interference removal. And it should be nerve signal interference removal. And in the fact that they're trying to copycat me and not the other way around, the chiropractic needs to fall by the wayside and nerve signal interference removal needs to come to the forefront. The thing about nerve signal interference removal, I will say that, like I said, after I won the lawsuit against the chiropractors in 2008, I ended up in the Acupuncture College of America in Oklahoma City. And in 3 months' time, I was able to effectively take care of the root cause of the problem for most of their patients. At first, they were so excited to have found me. They let me work on their patients. In fact, they recommended me. And then in that much time, they're ultimately telling me, they said, Tammy, we can't afford to have you here. We depend on the repeat business. And, so they didn't want me to work on their patients anymore because they depended on their patients to hurt. And they still wanted me to take care of them. So I had a problem with that. I couldn't, my conscience would not allow me to do that. Which is the reason why chiropractic continues to do what it does. Because ultimately, they give you just enough relief. And they talk about relief. This guy here has not really mentioned it today. Like I said, he's watching me. And, but their goal is to give you just enough relief to get you to come back, for the next round of, and ultimately it's opiates that they elicit the body to produce is what it is. They might accidentally fix something, but the way they do it, they either don't understand what it is that they've done, think that their success is based on their, goals, and or, they, like I said, if they get success, it's completely and purely accidental. Because their moves, their contacts, their lines of drive is so far off, it's not even funny. And here's something I want to show you about that. He's got this kind of, I don't know if he's cut this film. I'm just running, but he's got it kind of chopped up. So I'm going to actually address the sacro-iliac joint today. And then I'm going to move to the head on top, and because she has a very dramatic experience from it. And I'm going to point something out that's just from my gut. And we're going to have 2 films today. So first things first, we're going to talk about the sacro-iliac, which I find interesting. He does not mention the sacro-iliac or the atlanto-occipital. He doesn't talk about the sacrum. I don't think he ever mentions sacrum except for when she mentions it. He mentions hip one time. And just in the fact that, he's steering clear of the things I'm telling him, dude, you need to stop that. I find it interesting. He's watching me, guaranteed. If he's watching me, you need to spread it around amongst your friends, and the world needs to be aware of what it is that he's looking at so that, any changes he may make, where the source came from. And here's my point. Wouldn't you rather have the true expert at your disposal? Wouldn't you rather have this guy, actually be authoritative in his talk and his, knowledge, which means he'd have to come to the expert in order to actually be credentialed. And I can give that to him. But like I said, my grandfather's research is not going to be absorbed into chiropractic. So here we go. Here's what I find most interesting. I don't know if I can do this or not, but okay, hang on. This is what he needs to be looking at. We're going to go at the top. There's the top of her pelvis, okay? That's the top of her pelvis. Now, I cannot back up, unfortunately. But if I could, you would see pretty quick. Now, I know there's a notch over here, but you can't really see it. Let me see if I can show you. It's tilted. I can't see what I'm doing here. That's the problem. But you can slightly see it. It's higher on the right side. That's what he needs to be looking at. That's what he needs to be paying attention to. And let's see if I can point it out. Here to here, I just showed you. And I put the ruler across. It was slightly higher on the right side. And it is. It's slightly higher on the right side. That's what he needs to be paying attention to. And let's see what he does instead. Now, I told him to steer clear of the sacro-iliac joint, but he's still, the maneuvers he does, whether or not he talks about it or not, it doesn't matter. He's still manipulating those joints, which he needs to stay clear of it because he doesn't understand it. But anyway, what does he say?
Get into a good state.
Yes.
Man, that's crazy. So this is your lumbar spine here, okay?
Okay.
So two things. I think both of your hips are like turning inwards like this.
I can feel that.
Yeah.
Actually, not the case.
I think this happened, I don't know if it was because of the car accident or it was a combination of the car accident and the drop.
Okay.
But what happened here, so this is your L4, right?
Okay.
That's L4, and this is L5. The reason why I know this is L5 over here is because there's still a TP, or what we call, which is this big thing back here.
Okay.
Pulls out his little
So you
replicas.
see it here.
He does that
normal,
because I have the
see it
actual
here.
real
Yeah.
McCoy.
Now the thing is, I want you to notice this, right? That space that's here. Do you have any space here?
No.
No. You don't even know. You're like, what are you talking about? Right?
Is that like
There's
a healthy
supposed to-
spine right
this
there?
is a healthy spine.
And that's fine.
So there's supposed to be, you see there's a gap here, a gap here, a
Yeah.
gap here. There is no gap right here. So this is your neck here.
Now, we're going to stop right
this
there.
is what it's
Okay.
supposed to
We're going to stop right there. So what he's doing is he's focusing on the lumbar spine. What he needs to be looking at is where the pelvis is in relation to the sacrum. Now, I just pointed out to you what it is that he needs to see. What he needs to be paying attention to and noticing. And if he changes from here forward, that means, yeah, I'm tutoring this guy. I'm tutoring him, actually, which means he owes me money for educating him. What do you think he paid for his education? What do you think my information is worth? You figure that out. Okay, but let me show you what it means. I think I can do this. Okay. Here we go. Let me see. I don't think you might have seen these before, but let's get in here just a little bit. I can't zoom in that mode. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I'm just gonna make it pretty obvious. It's the sacro-iliac joint, the very bottom, where the pelvis, the large pelvis here, and the sacrum in the center come together. That's the root cause of the problem. Now, it's supposed to be in here flush, like this right here, okay? In her case, and this is going to be the right side in her case, because I'm thinking they're looking at the back. So, her right pelvis, and the chiropractors, they will, for the most part, when they do their manipulations or their so-called adjustments, and I'll point it out to you here in just a little bit, but they're moving in, they're rotating you this way, they're rotating you this way, and they go both directions. And they'll come in, like they'll rotate them this way, and they'll come in and they'll bang that way. And I'll show you here in a little bit, you'll see it. The reality of the situation, the actuality, what's actually happened here is that the pelvis, in this case her right pelvis, has rotated not in the horizontal plane, but it's in the vertical plane. It's in the up and down plane, okay? And it's not tilted this way. It can't go that way. It just can't. But it can rotate off like that. I don't know if you can see all that. I wish I could zoom it up. But it doesn't go this way. He said it looks like it was tilted that way. No, it doesn't do that. If it's doing that, it's a compensation based on how, the heels she's wearing and, just life in general. And, she's trying to stay away from and guard against any pain that might be coming from probably the lumbars. The reason why that would happen is because the pelvis is tilted, which causes the sacrum to tilt, or the pelvis is out of place, which causes the sacrum to tilt, which causes the lumbars to distort. So that's a compensation. We don't want to focus on the compensations. We want to deal with the causes. The cause, in this case, is what you saw when the pelvis on the right side was high. Her right pelvis is rotated like this. I'm going to exaggerate just a little bit so you can see it, but her pelvis is rotated like this. Okay. Which means he's got to go in the up and down, the vertical plane, in order to fix it. So basically it's like this, in this case, pelvis, let's see if I can show you, pelvis, sacrum in this case, right there's the joint, pelvis, and it's rotated me go this way. Here we go. Okay, so we're looking at her from this side. So this is her right pelvis. This is her sacrum. It's supposed to be like this, and in her case, it has moved this way. That's what happened. If she's facing you and, you know, her posterior is toward me, her pelvis is moved like that. Exaggerate just a little bit, so just so you can see it. So how do you think you fix that? You go in the vertical plane, make contact on the top of the pelvis. I'm not going to give the actual contact point because these guys are watching each other, and ultimately they do not intend to fix the problem. They don't, because if you fix the problem, it's not just enough relief, it's actual fix, which is what happened in Oklahoma City, was that the patients didn't come back because they didn't need them. He depends on the repeat business. I'm sure he does. Now, if he was to set his ego down and we come to an agreement, you know, he could actually bring me in. I could teach him, you know, and we would be able to help a lot more people. I hear he's got a line, you know, that's wrapping around the building, and he would be able to basically send them out to me instead. I'm Oklahoma, East Texas, you know. Anyway, it doesn't make sense that we are constantly, you know, button heads, but it is what it is. So until we get to a point to where we can recognize a true expert, understand the truth, and, you know, give credit where it's due, it's a fight. I apologize. No shade to the patients. I feel sorry for you, actually. So move ahead. Let's see here. How does he treat it instead? Let's get ahead here. Let's see. He treats it. Nope. He's going to talk about the neck. We're going to move forward to where he actually gets to the point to where, okay, here's what I find interesting too. So he does his, he's still testing it.
Do the right side.
I do feel like my hip is moving, twisting out.
Yeah, that's the one. So we're doing this just because.
That was her right side. Her right pelvis is out of place, actually. Partly dislocated.
Make sure it's off your throat.
The first thing he does is he goes and he does the shock therapy, which is not required.
Medicaid, it's time
Not
to get to know
required.
the easy to use
The first thing I
United
would
Healthcare
do is to get to the root,
Good.
go to the base
Slow
and fix the
exhale.
pelvis. That's what I would do. I would level out the sacrum,
Yeah.
take the stress off the lower spine. Lumbars have no reason to distort at this point in
Some of
time
the
if
things
I
you might even
fixed it.
feel is all the way down to your lower back.
No, he does a shock therapy first. Don't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Wow, what was that?
That was all.
What was that?
That was huge.
Okay.
And by doing that too, he's actually on the head. He's not talking about the head. He's not talking about the atlas at this point in time. I find that interesting.
Oh, wow.
I told him to stay away from the sacro-iliac and the atlanto-occipital joint.
That feels
He's affecting it by doing that. He can't talk about it. That means that he's not legitimate, you know. And I need a savvy attorney to talk to, because in all honesty, we should end up in the courts.
You're just like, what the hell just happened?
You know, when I fought him off, my attorney told me, he said, you know, we might be looking at a copyright infringement.
I feel like
You know,
I had a stuffy nose for years, and all of a sudden I can breathe again. Wow. Wow. Yeah, no, that feels like just a congestion kind of just went away.
Yeah, that was the Portland air.
yeah, he's gonna be funny.
All that enough about, yeah.
Rubbing his nose, covering his mouth. Yeah, that's actually, you know, body language sign for, you know, deception, whatever. He honestly doesn't know what he's doing. That's the whole thing. And the point is that he knows he doesn't know what he's doing.
I did that.
That's my point. He doesn't know what he's doing. He gets lucky.
That feels, yeah, if we do that like a couple more rounds, that should, yeah. I mean,
anybody can, any dummy can grab a towel, yank on you, and what's the point of going to the chiropractor?
You're like trying to grab the words to say, you're like, what, this is her, what is this?
Right, because like, yeah, it was a shock, it felt
But the
painful
shock
for
therapy is
maybe,
not
like, 2
required.
seconds, and then I'm like, okay.
Like, wait a minute, what's happening?
And of course,
Okay,
naturally,
feel like I
you know,
could
head on
breathe
top,
so much
you know.
better, and the congestion went away.
He
Maybe
might
even
have
back
actually
up to my
possibly,
level,
you know,
just-
made a correction to the head on top right there. Is not aware of it. I mean, it's possible.
Okay. He's gonna
Any headaches, migraines?
I do get.
He is
migraines
feeling in the
sometimes.
area that I feel
Would you
in.
say a week?
He doesn't talk about the
Yeah,
atlas.
probably
He doesn't
weekly.
talk about the head.
Okay, that's a lot.
Like I said, stay away from the atlanto-occipital and the sacro-iliac joints. He's not mentioning them, but he's still what he's doing.
When you talk about migraines,
But the fact he doesn't mention them
are just about normal,
is telling.
Is what we want. So this part right in through here probably starts from over here, right?
Okay.
So whenever I was feeling on your neck here, that right side just felt a lot tighter when I was pressing in like this.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna do this.
Okay, so here we go.
Go downwards. I'm gonna push
Now,
up and in, okay? Just
quick.
like this, and I'm pushing.
So actually, that is her left side. That's her left side. Yeah, that's her left side. And he's pushing. Actually, he's close to the area that I would make the contact. He's not exactly on it, but he's close to it. I think he's on the PSIS, which is posterior superior iliac spine. When I fought off the chiropractors, they talked about that. They had it in the textbooks, and that's what it looks like he's on right now. Contact is off by about 2 inches, but he's pushing it in the vertical plane, basically, the up and down plane. But he's on the wrong side. He's on her left side.
Ready?
And then, of course, he switches to, that's her right side. We don't actually see how many times he does it, but he's truncated the film, okay. But the point being is that he manipulated both sides, and he's on it looks like the posterior superior iliac spine, and he's pushing it in the right direction, but he's got his contact in the wrong place. His contact is wrong, but he's actually addressing the vertical plane to do it this way. Here's the reason why I want you guys to see this, is because that means that they are ignorant. It's like they're stabbing, at a piñata in a cave that's got no light, is what it is, basically. They're blind men in a cave, can't see, and they're just swinging about, is what this is.
Okay.
But they're supposed to be the experts.
Let's try that again. Left leg
Now,
all the way up again for me. Yeah,
increase
how does
range
that
of
feel?
motion, whatever.
Yeah.
Good.
He doesn't actually look at the pelvis to see if it's, he doesn't talk about the pelvis. He doesn't look at it to see if anything's changed.
Terrible joke.
And then, it's kind of irrelevant, basically, but okay.
Right, that's what we're hoping for.
There's opiate responses going on.
Sacrum, yeah.
Sacrum has been. Yeah,
That's what we're hoping for.
Not the case.
Let's have you lay on your back
He,
now.
he avoids talking about sacro-iliac joint.
Areas where
He goes
you're
up
having
to the
some
top.
issues.
Irrelevant.
Relax the
Basically,
shoulders
we're going to deal with
better.
what he
Head down.
does
I can feel
to
you like
the
that.
I know, because I
pelvis, which is what I want you guys to see. I mean, all of that is just basically increasing the range of motion, but the order in which he does it, it's kind of crazy, actually. Okay, here we go. Hang on a second.
Coconut oil is a hormone balancer. A 2012 study out of the Philippines.
Creepy, right? I know you're not creepy. Yeah, so that
All right,
move, okay?
what is he doing? He's
You're
still
gonna
on the
let me just
posterior
kinda push,
superior
'cause
iliac
I'm just
spine. He's
using my hip
rotating
on
it.
So I feel this one's just tight.
He's in
It's a
the
little bit up. Oh,
horizontal plane, and he's, and her response is, that was painful, actually. That's a pain response right there. If he's doing things right, it's not going to feel that way. No, let's go back just a little bit. Hang on a second. Let's look at that one more time. Oh. Go one more time. So he's on her right
I know you're not
side.
creepy. Yeah,
That's
so
her
that
right
move,
side.
okay?
He's pulling it. He's rotating it in a horizontal plane, and he comes in from the outside.
So I feel this one's just tight, right? It's a little bit up.
He comes in
Oh,
laterally.
yeah.
That's not how it's supposed to be done. Her response is pain. It takes a moment to have the opiates kick in. Okay, once they kick in, okay, now he goes to the other
Joint that's
side.
been right there.
Once again, he's on the posterior superior iliac spine.
Loosen the bottom leg.
He's rotating it
Yeah,
horizontally,
there you go. So you see, as soon as you did that,
and he
like, it
comes
just
in
opened up a lot
and punches
more.
her laterally. That's not the way to address it.
Yeah.
You're like,
That's not the way to address it. No. But that is dealing with sacro-iliac joint, which he does not mention sacrum. He does not mention sacro-iliac. He does not mention, pelvis. Now he's talking lumbars, and he's still doing the same moves. It's a sign of a charlatan that doesn't know what he's doing, stabbing a blind man in a cave that doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's what that is. Okay, he gets lucky ever so often, and he gets, good range of motion, and, he might accidentally fix something, good for his patient, but not good for him, because if he was a true scientist, he could explain it like I can explain it. He could talk about it like I can talk about it, and he would fix it one and done. If I was to be the one that was taking care of her, okay, first things first, which pelvis is it that's out of place? You can have right, left, you can have a bilateral slip. And when they're doing both sides, when it's only one side, what are they doing? They're actually encouraging laxity of the ligaments. They're manipulating things, they're stabbing around, like I said. They don't know what the hell they're doing. They might get lucky. Would you want to go to somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, or you want to go to somebody that actually understands the problem? That's my point. So why is it so hard for these chiropractors to just admit, you know what, chiropractic failed, you're right. You make a whole lot more sense. I'm fully aware now that, I didn't have access to the right school of thought, and I'm going to pay my dues in order to learn it right. Like I said, what do you think he paid to learn it wrong? What do you think my information is worth? All right, so we're going to cut from right here, right now, because we're going to keep this short, but I'm going to come back in another video to talk about the thing that really kind of grabbed me about, what he did to the atlanto-occipital joint area. It's still disturbing. So.